Hey everybody, Steve Bellman here. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to continue our series of bass rhythm studies, and this is going to be an advanced video. This one's going to be challenging. So what we're going to do is we are going to create polyrhythms and apply them to grooves. So for each polyrhythm, I'll have three separate grooves that we're going to practice. And it's going to be we're going to create the polyrhythms 5/2, 5/3, and 5/4. And then again, we'll take those and apply them to a groove. All right. So let's talk about the concept of a quintuplet, because that's what we're going to build these particular polyrhythms off of. So quintuplet, simply speaking, is 5 notes spaced evenly in a beat. Okay, so we know about eighth notes, we know about 16 notes, and even triplets. Um, in eighth notes, there are 2 notes spaced evenly in one beat. In triplets, there are 3 notes spaced evenly. And in 16th notes, there are 4 notes spaced evenly in one beat. With a quintuplet, it's same concept. We're just taking 5 notes and we're spacing those 5 notes evenly into one beat. Okay, so that's going to be the foundation of our polyrhythms: 5/2, 5/3, and 5/4. Now we're going to be in 2/4 time, so there's going to be 2 beats in the measure, which will give us 5 quintuplets, or I'm sorry, 2 quintuplets. And again, that's going to be 5 notes evenly spaced in each one of those 2 beats. Okay, so let's sort of talk about the quintuplet before we get into the polyrhythm, because we have to understand that before we can create the polyrhythm. So I'm at 51 beats per minute, and I'm going to show you where the quintuplet is within the context of each of these beats. Now, as far as counting, I like to use the Indian counting. So I'm going to think of the notes as da de gina dom, da de gina dom. Okay, it's easier than saying 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. But again, you can use really whatever you want. You can even think of a syllable that's 5 syllables. You can do that. But the Indian counting for me makes more sense. So da de gina dom, da de gina dom. Now, again, remember that these notes have to be evenly spaced within the confines of the beat. So let me find it, and then I'm going to play it for you. So if I count it, da de gana dum, 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 da. Okay, so that's the quintuplet. That's the foundation of the polyrhythm. So if you've never played quintuplets before and it's maybe a little uncomfortable for you, I would start with that. Just sit with the metronome and do the counting, play a note, just pick a note on your bass and play the quintuplets. Make sure that they're evenly spaced. You don't want it to be like, the notes, just like 16 notes and 8 notes, they have to be evenly spaced within the confines of each of those beats for this to work. Okay? All right, so that's the foundation of what we're going to do. We're in 2/4 time, so that means there's going to be 2 sets of quintuplets, or 2 sets of 5 notes in each beat. And we know the counting. So now we can kind of get to what the polyrhythm is. Okay, so we're going to start with 5/2. All right, now a polyrhythm, just simply defined, is basically 2 rhythms simultaneously happening at the same time. So with this, we're going to create a 5 note phrase over 2 beats. That gives us 5/2, and I'll show you how we do that. So with the quintuplet, da de gana dom, da de gana dom. Every time I go da, that's representing an accent. And those accents are on beat 1 and beat 2. But what we're going to do now is we're going to phrase it so that those accents are off sort of the beat, if you will. And instead of giving us 2 accents with the da de gana dom, it's going to end up giving us 5 accents. So what we're going to do, sorry for the plane. So what we're going to do is, instead of saying dodigenodome, I'm going to change it to Indian phrasing of 2, because we need to phrase the speed of this quintuplet now into 2. After 2 notes, there will be an accent. Okay, so the speed of the quintuplet doesn't change. It's going to remain the same. We're not slowing down or speeding up or anything. We're just regrouping the notes. So the counting is going to be different. So instead of dodigenodome, I'm going to say taka, taka, taka. Every time we say ta, there's an accent. Taka, 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 okay? And there will be 5 of those accents now over the space of those 2 beats. That's going to give us the polyrhythm. So let's see if we can do that. There's the quintuplet. Let me count it. Dodigenodome, 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 dodigenodome. Now, what I'm going to do, sorry, it's hard to talk and speak. What I'm going to do then, after I do it a couple times, that quintuplet, is I'm going to go to taka. So I'm going to go to the phrasing of 2. Here we go. Dodigenodome, dodigenodome, dodigenodome. Here we go. Dodigenodome. Taka, 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 taka. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So that gives me the 5 over 2. There's 5 accents in this space of 2 beats. That's a polyrhythm, okay? So that's the concept. So again, if you've never done this before, this right here might be enough for you to work on for a little while. So just work with the click. Again, I'm at 51 beats per minute. Work with the click. Find where the quintuplet is first, the 5-note grouping, and then try to phrase that, just a single note, in groups of 2, and create that 5 over 2 polyrhythm. Okay, so in the first example, right, this example we're doing, if you look at the quintuplet, there are 5 notes in the space of 2 beats. Okay, this is what I love about music. It's simple. It's very logical and simple math. So there's 5 notes in this in 2 beats. 5 times 2 equals 10. If we flip that now we're phrasing those 5 notes in groups of 2, and it's giving us 5 accents. 2 times 5 equals 10 as well. So it's resolving in the same place because it's all based on these 10, I won't say notes or beats, but these 10 notes in the bar, right? So however you look at it, it's coming out in the same spot. But this is how we're creating the polyrhythm. All right? Okay, so now let's look at the polyrhythm. Look at the groove that we're going to play with the polyrhythm. So this is going to be example C and D. So if we just look at it, let's just get the notes. So we have low E, and then high E, low E, then C sharp, D. Okay, and again, so that's going to be played taka, 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 taka. Okay? All right, look at the second one at D. It's the same principle. We're accenting after every other, or after every second note. So if we have that, we have low E, high E, low, D, C sharp, B, A. And notice that those lower E's, the accent is on each one of those lower E's. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, taka, 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 taka. And for both of those grooves, you can see that there are 5 accents. That gives us the 5 over 2. All right, so let's try it with in the context with the quintuplet. Here's C. 1, 2, 1. Here we go. 2. there you go. So there's letter C and letter D. That gives you the 5/2, 5 accents in the space of 2 beats. All right? Okay, so let's go to 5/3 now. It's the same concept. We're using the same quintuplet. But in this case now we're going to have the time signature of 3/4. So there's going to be 3 beats in a measure. That creates 3 quintuplets, 3 separate quintuplets. And that's going to give us 15 notes. All right. So what we're going to do then is instead of playing those groups of 5 notes like we did before, we're going to accent after every 3rd note now. So the first one was after every 2nd note. This is after every 3rd note. So again, if we look at the math of it, we have a quintuplet is 5 notes over 3 beats. 5 times 3 is 15. What we're going to do now is we're going to take that quintuplet, and instead of phrasing in 5s, we're going to phrase in 3s. That's going to give us 5 accents. 3 times 5 equals 15. So the magic number in this, again, is not beats, but 15 notes. Okay? All right. So let's look at, again, the quintuplet is the same, so we don't need to look at that. Let's look at the pattern. So this is letter B. So on E, we have 3 notes, 2 times, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we go to C sharp again, 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, D, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Let's fit it in the confines of the quintuplet. One, 2, 3. One more measure. 1, 2. Here we go. 3. Forgot to say, with this counting, the Indian counting would be takite. So takite, 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 ta. Sorry about that. I wanted to include that as well. Okay. So for the grouping of 2, it's taka. For the grouping of 3, it's takite. All right. So that was B. Let's look at C. Now this one I'm going to slap. And again, it's the same concept. I'm accenting after every 3rd note. Okay, there you go. So again, you can create these interesting grooves just using these simple polyrhythm concepts. And remember that we're not in a weird time signature. We're in 2/4 and we're in 3/4. But because we're regrouping these quintuplets, it's feeling a little bit off the beat. There's a little bit of tension there. And like I've said in other videos, rhythmic tension is great. It's like we use harmonic tension all the time using alter chords and different things to bring tension to the sound of the harmony and then resolution. You can do the same with the rhythm because it's always going to resolve, in this case, after 15 notes. And that's the resolution. That's the satisfaction, is when you do these grooves and then you end up resolving. There's a tension release element to it that's really cool. All right. Okay. So that was C. Let's look at D. Same concept. This is kind of more of a bluesy lick. I'm going to use my fingers on it. And let's just kind of go through I didn't go through it on C, but let's go through the notes on this one. So it's E, E, T, right? And And then we accent on B, B, D, B, B flat, A, G, A, G, E, D, B, G. So it's kind of a bluesy little riff. So ready, and taki, te, taki, te, taki, te, taki, te, taki, te, ta. All right. Give you 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. All right, there you go. I played the last one different, but it was still within the quintuplet. So there you go. There's 3 examples of 5/3. All right. So we have 5/2. We're taking the quintuplet and we're phrasing it in groups of 2s. We're using the syllable taka. For 5/3, it's the same concept. We're taking 3 groups of quintuplets, and instead of 5 notes, we're phrasing them in 3 notes. That's giving us 5/3. Okay? All right. So let's go to 5/4. All right. So the last one is going to be 5/4. And same concept as we had before, but this time instead of 3/4, we're going to be in 4/4 times. So it's going to be 4 beats in the measure. That gives us 5 groups of quintuplets, right? So if you think of the notes, again, 5 times 4 is 20. There's 20 notes. So in the first situation, you have 5 notes in each beat. You have 4 beats. 5 times 4 is 20. What we're going to do, like we did before, is we're going to rephrase the 5 into 4. So now we're going to phrase in groups of 4. And so there will be 4 phrasing in 4, which will give us 5 accents. 4 times 5 equals 20. So there's 20 notes in this bar. And again, it just depends on how you want to look at it. You can look at it as 5 notes in 4 beats, or you can think of it as taking 4 notes and creating 5 accents, which gives you the same amount of beats, okay, or I should say notes. All right, so let's look at the bass lines for this one. So letter C, notice that the accents are happening after every 4th note, okay? So if we look at the bass line, accent, accent, accent. And again, some of these lines are a little bit more on the rock side, but they work, especially they feel like a heavier groove. Okay, so let's try to apply that now. Letter C, we're going to apply it to the quintuplet. And with this now, what we do is we said taka for the 2s, taki-te for the 3s. The Indian counting for this is going to be takadimi, 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 okay? And that's what I'm going to use for the grouping of 4. So let's find the quintuplet. Go. So that would be a 5/4 groove. There are 5 accents in the space of 4 beats, polyrhythm. All right, the second one, the last one, which is letter D, this is going to be built off of the pentatonic, the 3 positions of the pentatonic scale. So if we look at it, 4 notes, and then start on the 2nd note, 4 notes, start on the 3rd note, and I have a high C, you guys, so if you have a 4 string, you have to play it here. Okay, again, once we play this, it's going to give us a melodic phrase of 5/4. That's what we're going for here, okay? All right, so let's figure it out. With this one too, the shift is it's a little radical, so it might take you a minute to kind of be able to play it. For me, it's still a challenge, but again, this will give you something to work for. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there you go. So with this video, we learned a few things. We learned what a quintuplet is. We learned how to count it. And then we learned what polyrhythms are. So we created a 5/2 polyrhythm, 3 grooves for that. We created 5/3 polyrhythm, and we created a 5/4 polyrhythm. So what I'm hoping for you guys out of this video is there's a couple things. The first thing is this will change, and I've said this before in other videos, this will change the way you phrase if you're a soloist. So just by playing these grooves and playing these rhythms, you're going to start to internalize the feel, especially the feel of how the click works or the beat works against what you're playing. And that stuff's going to come out in your solos. Your phrasing is going to be different in a good way. So that's the first thing is if you're a player and a soloist, this is really going to enhance your rhythmic concept in your solos. And again, remember that this stuff can bring tension and release just like a harmonic thing can bring tension and release. So it's a great thing to use in soloing. But the other thing is I think it will expand your composition. A lot of the material that I wrote with Jeff Miley for the Odd Dogs album, a lot of it came from these concepts. And it just creates interesting music. Now, it's not that you force the music to go there, but what happens is when you start investigating these rhythms, it becomes part of you. It becomes in you so that you don't, it's not a forced thing. It just starts to come out and you start to hear these rhythms, okay? Because some people argue it's artificial or whatever. It's not. It's just that if you don't investigate these rhythms, then you don't know how to play them. But once you do, they become internalized and it will just start coming out just naturally, okay? So I'm hoping too that this will affect your creativity. Experiment, try to create some bass lines, your own bass lines based on 5/2, 5/3, 5/4, and maybe even melodic lines as well. You can create melodies or guitar rhythms or whatever. You can, this will work compositionally anyway as well. Okay, so that's my hope that it'll affect your playing, but it will also affect your creativity in terms of writing music and so forth. Okay, all right, you guys. And to practice this, I would just sit with a metronome. Again, make sure that you have the quintuplet and that you have just on the one note. You can just play the polyrhythm on the one note for 5/2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then once you do that, then go and try to play through all the grooves with the click and try to do them going from one to the other. That's a little harder. Okay. All right. So I think that's it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have fun with it. Remember to check out my website. I have my book, Rhythm Studies Book 1 there. Book 2 is going to come out soon. So be on the lookout for that. But I just appreciate your support and be sure to subscribe and like on the videos as well if you can, if you don't mind. So I appreciate you guys so much. God bless you, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.